Once upon a time, there was a girl from LA. Some people called her an actress.
When will this finish?
And there was a guy from London. Some people called him a prince. Let's call this a modern fairy tale.
What could possibly go wrong?
They have proven themselves to be liars.
Why are they talking about race?
How you don't have your daddy at your wedding?
I want to be near them. I want to be a part of their life.
What you're doing to your father's not right.
She wanted her privacy invaded.
There were women who worked for her who were absolutely broken by her.
Just by existing, we were upsetting the dynamic of the hierarchy.
He has become a traitor.
Who are their friends now?
The fairy tale has fractured.
They would change the world.
You look lovely.
Thank you, so do you.
Before we get into it, what did you think it was going to be like?
I will say I went into it naively because I didn't grow up knowing much about the royal family.
But she may just have a little experience running a royal household.
The Royal Highness, take one.
Yep, that's the former Suits star in a rare home video from 1990, playing with her friends and pretending to be the queen.
Regularly scheduled program, which is titled The Royal Highness, take two.
Markle tests out her most proper etiquette.
Princess Cara, I thought I said no eating cookies in bed.
And leads her friends to her royal bash.
Follow me, girls, for my party. Come along.
All this, of course, while rocking a regal crown.
Hollywood Schoolhouse. I was there from ages 2 to 12.
I want you to see what you wrote to me. You know how to read that, but I want you to pay attention to the P.S.
This school will always have a special place in my heart. Much love, Meghan. P.S. When I am rich and famous, when I write my life story, I will talk about you and the school so you will be known worldwide. Ha ha! Says the 11-year-old. Oh my God!
Long before she was a duchess, Meghan Markle was a queen. A homecoming queen who people bowed to and cheered.
At the budget car rental, you can choose from a Benz or a BMW. Beverly Hills. We're about to go towards Rodeo Drive. Prada,
Gucci, baby.
And right now we're in Beverly Hills, and we're gonna pass the Beverly Hilton Hotel, where I'll be on Sunday meeting the other Northwestern people. And what else are we doing? Oh, I have an audition today. From my dad's house, you can see the Hollywood sign.
I had double majored at Northwestern, Theater and International Relations, and had just ended up at a party actually very close to here when a friend of mine gave a student film that I had done to a manager.
No, this is not porn. This is for the Sunday paper. That's why you're not paid to think. Snap out of it. Come on, let's go. I don't have time for this.
And he said, you're gonna make money and I wanna take 10%. I think you should stay in LA, and I did.
In 2004, she met her first husband, Trevor Ingleson. Trevor was up and coming at this point, really. He was a producer, he was into talent management, and he actually owned his own production company. Meghan struck gold.
Markle was at times disappointed that Ingleson didn't help get her cast in more of his projects, though he did get her a bit part in Remember Me in 2010, as well as a short film called The Candidate.
I had just started acting.
I miss him so much. I'll be okay when I get some payback. If the enemy's in range, so are you.
From Knight Rider to a couple of Hallmark movies, Meghan's had more than 30 acting roles, including blink and you might miss it moments, like playing a FedEx girl in Horrible Bosses.
What's the first role you ever auditioned for?
Hot girl number 1 in A Lot Like Love with Ashton Kutcher.
Did you get it?
Yes.
You know, in about 24 hours, I'm gonna be rich.
Really?
Yeah. You from New York?
No, I'm from LA.
Okay. I mentioned I was gonna be rich.
You did, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You like that?
And it's interesting. Well, I mean, I think also because there's a misconception that because I have worked in the entertainment industry that this would be something I would be familiar with. Because I'm from LA, I often say, if you grew up in a small coal mining town, maybe you're going to end up getting into coal mining. I grew up in the entertainment industry, so it was a very comfortable environment for me. Not acting specifically, but definitely in wanting to be part of the team of making a TV show or a film from that.
Are your parents in show business?
My dad is a DP, yes. He was the lighting director. My dad.
Director of photography.
My dad. I didn't mean to make it sound so.
No, it's all right. It's fine.
You help, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Has he been on anything I would know?
There was a show called Married with Children. Do you
Seen
remember
it?
that?
Seen it?
Love and marriage, love and marriage.
Married with Children has gone down in history as one of the most successful and influential sitcoms ever.
This girl grew up on the set of Married with Children because of her dad, who is not Ed O'Neill.
Do you guys, but look, it's such a young crowd. Do you guys remember that show with Al Bundy? You do?
Yeah, and Peg?
Oh, that's Markle.
Yes,
right?
Meryl
yeah,
Markle.
Oh my
Yes,
God,
yes.
You tried to fool me.
No, Meghan, I said Meryl.
By the way, she grew up on the set of Married with Children.
And every day after school for 10 years, that's where I grew up. I was there.
Wow.
I know. It's a very perverse place for a little girl who went to Catholic school, no less, to grow up. I remember, because I would be at the tapings and I'd be there all the time. And I'd be in, I went to all-girls Catholic school, so I'd be in a little school uniform, right? But then you'd watch like Tracy Lords, Tia Carrera. Tia Carrera walked by in a school uniform. These.
Yeah,
Those are some women.
Yeah.
She was like 9.
You should have gotten to know her more. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of Meghan's first acting jobs was on General Hospital. It probably didn't hurt that her dad was a soap's lighting director.
You need to have one line somewhere. So she got the line, she got the card.
Mm-hmm. Many actors start out on soaps.
I have his chart right here, Dr. Lambert. I don't see the notation anywhere.
And yeah, that was definitely a start. Not the most believable paper shuffling we've ever seen.
She'd been in Deal or No Deal from 2006 to 2007.
I think it was Howie Mandel.
That's right, Howie Mandel. Meghan zeroed in on Howie Mandel because Meghan was using him as yet another stepping stone. And his wife said, enough, get rid of her, she's trouble. Wow. And they got rid of her.
I ended up quitting the show. Like I said, I was thankful for the job, but not for how it made me feel. I would end up leaving with this pit in my stomach, knowing that I was so much more than what was being objectified on the stage. I didn't like feeling forced to be all looks and little substance. And that's how it felt for me at the time, being reduced to this specific archetype.
The objectification might be coming from you and how you felt about how these women were being portrayed.
Today, 2 of Meghan's former castmates are hitting back on social media. Deal or No Deal never treated us like bimbos, writes Claudia Jordan. Patricia Cara, who appeared in every episode, also tweeted, "Funny, I remember a group of hardworking, strong-minded, independent women."
My question is for Meghan. Meghan, besides holder of briefcase 24 on Deal or No Deal, what do you think your most impactful role was?
Meghan Markle was in the pilot of your reboot of 90210.
I didn't know Meghan Markle was in the reboot.
She was girl performing oral in the car.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
2009 brought this Tostitos commercial, and this is definitely not Meghan's voice as her inner monologue.
That's more people than I invited to the party, unless Denise brings Gary. Ugh.
This is kind of crazy. In a 2010 episode of the show Castle, Meghan played a crime victim who was dressed as a princess.
So now she's in 2010 as an actress. What is she doing in 2010? She's doing day parts. She's CSI Miami, Officer Leah Montoya for one episode. Get Him to the Greek, uncredited. The Candidate, which was a short film, which means nobody ever saw it. And what do you do in the meantime to make money? Well, a lot of people wait tables, a lot of people do that kind of stuff. According to Meghan, though, she didn't do any of that stuff. She said, quote, I don't wait tables. I don't have a side job. I'm in the club of the fortunate few that somehow make a living playing dressing. When it's good, it's effing awesome. So that's how Meghan was running in 2010. They would go out and they would find some rich guys, and that's what they would do.
I've never been part of tabloid culture. I've never been in pop culture to that degree.
Come with me for a day in the life. I'm going to show you my favorite spots in Toronto. What's your name?
Gohar.
Gohar. Meghan, nice to meet you.
And lived a relatively quiet life.
I'm dragging her away. I'll give you that guy.
Yeah, thank you.
Good night, guys. Good to see you again. Bye. Yeah, of course. What's your name?
Yeah, of course.
So in 2010, Meghan actually landed her biggest role with Suits.
Mike Ross. Hi. I'm Rachel Zane. I'll be giving you your orientation.
Wow, you're pretty.
Good. You've hit on me. We can get it out of the way that I'm not interested.
And pretty much in celebration, her and Trevor got married the following year.
Meghan's first wedding to a TV producer named Trevor Engelson took place at a beachfront resort 7 years ago.
Who came to her wedding, her first wedding?
Everybody, the entire cast of Suits. I was there. Victoria and I walked her down the aisle.
Even at their wedding, she forbade any photographs and destroyed the video, the official video, because she wanted no record of the wedding.
This is what Meghan Markle's first wedding looked like. Beer and barbecue on a beach in Jamaica. The festivities included a wheelbarrow race, with Meghan leading the charge.
What do you know about Trevor? Why did she...
Very sweet man.
Yeah.
A very kind man.
Trevor was always a source of great financial support, and as Meghan's star rose with Suits and her paycheck kept increasing, she didn't really need Trevor anymore.
She was determined to build her own new life in Toronto.
They were apart because she was working in Canada all the time and not coming back on weekends. He wanted her to.
Trevor and Meghan go on a trip through Vietnam. They're hoping it'll be a chance to work through some of their differences and reconnect. When Meghan goes back to Toronto to film season 2 of Suits, that's when she makes a decision.
He was shocked at what happened, how it happened.
11 years they were together in total.
Meghan goes to the post office. She buys an envelope and then slips off her wedding ring, drops it inside, and mails it back to Trevor.
Literally by FedEx.
There was no warning. He didn't expect it, and the rings were sent back without even a note.
Trevor called me and was in shock. He was lost.
Your ring.
Oh, yes.
Tell us about your ring.
It's beautiful, and he designed it.
Meghan decided that she wanted it altered by celebrity designer Lorraine Schwartz.
You know, to be able to have this, which sort of links where you come from, and Botswana, which is important to us, and it's perfect.
She's basically redesigned it to make it look like the set of wedding bands that she had from her first marriage.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure it stays on that finger.
Of course.
But she kept his bracelet. Wears it to this day.
The fact that she still wears that Cartier love bracelet that Trevor gave to her as a wedding present. She still wears it. She never took it off. It's not just a piece of jewellery from her ex. This is a piece of jewellery that was a wedding present that's supposed to signify their eternity together.
Meghan and Jessica have been close friends for years, thick as thieves. They've really kind of gone through the Toronto social scene together.
Jessica Mulroney, Meghan's closest confidant, style advisor, and yoga partner, that friendship making her one of the most influential women in fashion.
One of my closest girlfriends is here, Jessica Mulroney, who runs Kleinfeld's in Toronto, and she's helping me.
In this Hello Magazine video, Jessica helps Meghan pick out a wedding dress for her character in Suits.
Thanks, Jess.
Thank you.
Her husband, Ben, was the son of a former Prime Minister. He himself was a very successful TV host.
And Jessica then introduced her to Sophie Trudeau. Sophie is the wife of the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who is also friends with Prince Harry. This is where the networking intensifies.
Get ready to dive deep into the world of Soho House, the private members club that has captivated the world's elite, including celebrities, politicians, and business leaders.
I write my stories here, I take my meetings here, and it's kind of amazing because all over the world, if I'm traveling, Soho House can still be home base.
Marcus Anderson is the king of Soho House.
Wherever they were opening up a new Soho House, his job was to find the best and the brightest of that city to invite to the founding members' party. I'll read to you who attended. Kristen Stewart, Kate Hudson, Matt Damon, Keira Knightley, Jude Law, Bruce Willis, Amy Adams, Bradley Cooper, Dustin Hoffman, Zac Efron, Jessica and Ben Mulroney, and Corey Vitiello. He was the hottest chef with the hottest restaurant, and anybody who was anybody knew Corey Vitiello.
We're in Harvard Village today, my favorite area in Toronto. It's where I live, it's where I work. I'm the chef and owner of Flock Rotisserie and Greens and the Harvard Room.
It was reported that Corey Vitiello turned up with a new squeeze on his arm.
I am going to have a party at one of my favorite restaurants in Toronto called the Harvard Room.
By 2013, Meghan had been starring in Canadian TV show Suits for 2 years, but was virtually unknown in Britain. It was during a trip to the UK that she met presenter Lizzie Cundy at a charity event.
And how are you enjoying London life? I mean, it must be mad because, you know, it's very different here and it's cold.
It is very cold, but the people are so warm. As cheesy as that sounds, I was joking today, I've never been called love or darling more in my life, so it makes me want to stick around for a while.
I mean, I didn't know who she was at the time, and I was at a charity event, and I think you may know him, John Caldwell.
Who else has a room like this? Well, other than Buckingham Palace, of course.
He said, look, can you sit next to this girl? She's flown in from Canada. We got on really, really well, and we did have a huge giggle, and she wanted to find an English boyfriend. So I said, look, I'll help you. So I was going through my phone. There was Ashley Cole, Chelsea footballer. I was trying.
By the way, Meghan is also the founder of the TIG. That's a website for those with a hunger for food, travel, fashion, and beauty. It covers about everything but fooling around.
Pretty much. The name The Tig comes from a wine called Tignanello, but oftentimes it's mispronounced Tignanello. And I had a sip of this wine about 6 or 7 years ago, and it was the first time that I understood what people meant when they said the legs or the body or the structure of the body or legs or structure of wine. It was such an, oh, I get it kind of moment that for me it became a Tig moment. It's such an aha moment. It's a Tig moment. That nickname became what translated for me for like, oh, I get it. It's wine.
This is when Meghan decided she was going to become an influencer. She started up the lifestyle blog, The Tig.
It's got a lot of like cooking and travel and fashion and beauty, like really just about you.
Yeah, it's an extension of the things that I just love, right?
It's like your own little mini goop.
Yeah. There are no $100 candles on my site. That's so obnoxious.
Now, round about this time, this is when Meghan decided to interview this very handsome up-and-coming chef. Corey being a chef, Meghan starts restyling herself as a food lover and a foodie.
On the TIG, food is a really important facet of the website. I have a Best Bite section, Chef's Talk, where I interview Michelin star chefs or chefs that are up and coming, but I also really love to cook.
There were no charitable causes, no humanitarian efforts. There was nothing to do with the environment, civil rights campaigning. What about Black History Month, female empowerment, Feminism. Here's a good feminism one for you. Touch my butt and buy me pizza.
This lady has this amazing food blog, The Tig, and I just told her that I'm going to make her chicken recipe.
You brought us a roast chicken today, since it's your specialty. Why are you so into chicken?
There's honestly nothing as delicious or as impressive, in my opinion, as a perfectly roasted chicken.
So how did you kind of develop that side of yourself, the foodie side?
I personally think chicken is one of the most quintessential home-cooked meals you can make.
If you have an Ina Garten level roasted chicken, game changer.
And when you get to know the story of the recipe, you get to know the person behind it.
Now she turns up at the Miami Soho house, and it is there that one of the most important introductions took place.
The more I think really black and white about the collection, the more successful we become.
Misha Nanu. Well, Misha was married to Alexander Gilks, and he was an old Etonian that knew William and knew Harry.
Buying art is an art and requires great confidence.
If you're going to penetrate that English aristocracy, you've got to have an inn. And Misha was married to a fabulous inn.
He's friends with Princess Eugenie, Fergie, Beatrice, and the Middletons. Alexander is in the royal circle. Marcus Anderson managed to sit Meghan right next to Misha Nunu, and they became best friends. He started seeing Meghan going on holiday in these luxury stays with Misha.
Wasn't there some speculation that she was on Epstein's yacht at one point in time? There was like photos with her way back in the day when she was like in her early 20s.
Yacht party! Yacht party! 28th of April 2015, Soho House has its big opening party in Istanbul. And of course, Misha Nunu was there to help keep Meghan company. Meghan was the unnamed guest. But there were lots of stars there, including Eddie Redmayne, A-list actor, but he is also an old Etonian, and he is chums with Harry and William. Look at this photograph. Istanbul 2015 with Millie McIntosh.
Yeah, she actually wanted to be in Made in Chelsea. I remember saying she loved the show.
Now, Millie's social set involves the Matthews brothers. Guess who married a Matthews brother? Pippa Middleton. Meghan's getting a little bit closer. Prince Harry was on a 2-day tour in Istanbul on the exact same days as the Soho House party. Did Meghan and Harry really meet on that blind date, or have they crossed paths before?
So to be able to start almost afresh, right from the beginning, and getting to know each other step by step.
So Meghan made friends at absolute lightning speed with women that were close friends with either Harry's parents, his cousins, or even his childhood, Eton, basically his old school and long-term friends. So the chances are Meghan knew exactly when Harry would be going to meet Justin Trudeau. She also knew when Harry would be at Soho House in Oxfordshire. She knew when Harry would be at any of the other Soho houses, if you think about it.
Yeah, no, it was hugely refreshing to be able to get to know someone who isn't necessarily within your circle, doesn't know much about me, I don't know much about her.
And you can see that if she hadn't have met Marcus Anderson back in 2013, there's no way she would have ever met Harry.
Because I'm from the States, you don't grow up with the same understanding of the royal family, and so while I now understand very clearly, there's a global interest there.
And the Oscar goes to Colin Firth, The King's Speech.
Helen Mirren in The Queen.
Claire Foy, The Crown.
Kate Blanchett, Elizabeth.
Marie Antoinette.
I didn't know much about him, and so the only thing that I had asked her when she said she wanted to set us up was, I had one question. I said, well, is he nice? Because if he wasn't kind, it didn't seem like it would make sense.
Meghan, when she was a teenager, was captivated by Diana.
They watched the funeral. She and her friends were saddened and very moved by it.
She must be the only person on earth who didn't remember the two young sons, aged 15 and 13, walking behind the coffin.
A simple card on the first of those reads, just saying, Mummy.
Who could forget that week? And little Harry with the note, the envelope on top of Princess Diana's casket that said, Mummy. Just, it breaks your heart.
She doesn't remember that. She didn't know who Prince Harry was. She had no idea. She didn't do any research. She was friendly with Eugenie, but had no idea who Harry was, except to ask, is he nice?
You don't know anything about one of the oldest and largest monarchies in Western civilization.
She knew nothing? Oh gosh, well, not according to people who knew her, who saw my books and other books on royal family, especially on Diana, on her bookshelf. I'm afraid she knew nothing.
But here she is, aged 15, on a tour of the UK with pictures in front of the palace.
She'd always had an interest in the royal family.
The chances of meeting the Queen are pretty slim.
Oh, the irony. That's a 15-year-old Meghan Markle on a bus tour in London in 1996.
And of course we have this last photo that clearly shows her holding a magazine which has all about Kate's wedding to Prince William in it.
I, William Arthur Philip Louis.
Take thee, Catherine Elizabeth.
Take thee, Catherine Elizabeth.
To my wedded wife.
To my wedded wife.
It's in her blog. She watched Catherine and William's wedding. Who was best man?
Here's what she wrote on her blog, The Tig. Little girls dream of being princesses. I, for one, was all about She-Ra, Princess of Power. Grown women seem to retain this childhood fantasy. Just look at the pomp and circumstance surrounding the royal wedding and endless conversation about Princess Kate. The Tig blog post was also accompanied by an interview with the Libyan princess in which Meghan claimed she had a pinch myself, I'm emailing with the princess moment.
I think for both of us, though, it was really refreshing because given that I didn't know a lot about him, everything that I've learned about him, I learned through him, as opposed to having grown up around different news stories or tabloids or whatever else. Anything I learned about him and his family was what he would share with me, and vice versa. So for both of us, it was just a really authentic and organic way to get to know each other.
A different childhood friend named Susie also alleged that Meghan was interested in the royal family and said the pair would watch Princess Diana's 1981 wedding to Prince Charles. Susie's mom previously told the Mail, I always loved Diana and I have her biography, which I gave Meghan to read. I videoed Diana's wedding back in 1981 and I would watch it with Susie and Meghan all those years later.
And one of her friends said that she always wanted to be Diana 2.0.
Do you remember that old movie Princess Diaries with Anne Hathaway?
Me? A princess? Shut up!
Meghan's maid of honour at her first wedding responded with this character assessment and fact check. I wasn't shocked or even surprised to hear about Prince Harry. I know she used to love the Princess Diaries, films about a commoner who becomes part of a royal family. She was very taken with that idea.
Prince William. I absolutely accept.
Now this is Gina Newthorpe-Cowan from Kruger Cowan Talent Agency. Gina has very famous clients. Goldie Hawn, Cher, Terry Crews, Piers Morgan, just to name a few. They became so much more than just clients and agents. They holidayed together, they lunched together, they became close friends. Now aside from plugging Gina from everything that she could have in her little black book, Meghan had said that she wanted to not be seen as a fashion model, just an actress and a briefcase girl. She wanted the world to see her as a humanitarian, a true trailblazer for feminist change.
Well, I'm sure I could learn a few things from a professional like you.
So Gina, in 2014 in September, she got Meghan UN Women the He for She gig. Now this is a cause actually supported by Emma Watson, who happened to be someone that Meghan fangirled over. She doesn't fangirl over her anymore because there were twice when Meghan had tried to meet Emma and Emma had declined.
That didn't stop Meghan from writing all about it on the TIG, claiming that she was in London to support Emma's initiatives for He for She.
I was wondering if you've ever been asked on a date by a royal.
Oh, I mean, I have not.
Have you ever been to Vegas? Because I hear Prince Harry likes Vegas.
That would have been the place to go.
Now, another gig that Gina managed to get Meghan in 2014 was seeing troops and their families. Tick box, veterans. Know where I'm going with that one? March 2015, paparazzi shots were arranged by Splash News. Photographer Charles Purvey, who took the photos, and says that these were actually arranged by Meghan's agents, and the reason why these really natural looking photographs didn't sell is because no one knew who she was, nobody was interested, and that's why we never saw these photographs until later.
Meghan also used to organise setups where she would ask an agency, hey, I'm going to be turning up to a restaurant or an event. Can you photograph me coming in? She herself had a relationship with the press before she got into a relationship with Harry.
March 2015, a night out at the exclusive royal hotspot of 5 Hertford Street. Princesses Beatrice, Eugenie, William, Harry, every single one of the younger royals. It is a high-end members club. So again, you've got Meghan going to somewhere where she knows the royals like to hang out. Has Meghan already acquired her next target?
Meghan, given your acting and the profile you had, you'd already been involved with various causes. You'd been an ambassador for UN Women.
Meghan had decided that she wanted to reinvent herself as an advocate for women's rights, and she secured her first plagiarized speech from Eleanor Roosevelt at the 2015 UN Women's Conference.
May we empower each other to carry out such vision, because it isn't enough to simply talk about equality. One must believe in it, and it isn't enough to simply believe in it. One must work at it.
Meghan, will you tell the story about when you wrote that letter to P&G?
You know, it's so interesting, and I gave a speech last year for International Women's Day with UN Women, and I was talking about an experience that I had when I was 11 years old.
There are those catalyzing moments in your life, and from my standpoint,
A pivotal moment that would change the way I understood my place in the world.
I had this commercial change when I was young because I found it to be sexist.
You know, truth be told, at 11, I don't even think I really knew what sexism meant.
Last week at my school, we decided to watch the news for social studies.
When a commercial came on
for Ivory dishwashing liquid. And the tagline said,
"Women are fighting
greasy pots and pans
with Ivory Clear."
And then I heard them. 2 boys from my class said, "Yeah, that's where women belong, in the kitchen." Oh man, this did not sit well with 11-year-old me.
I really don't think it was very nice for the boys to say it.
It just wasn't right. Something struck me internally. It sparked this frustration and this desire for change. So I went home and I told my dad what had happened. And he said, "Why don't you write some letters?" So I did. To the most powerful people I could think of. Powerful people I could think of at the time. Hillary Clinton. And Linda Ellerby, who hosted my preferred news source as an 11-year-old, Nick News W5. I wrote a letter to Gloria Allred. Because even at 11, I wanted to cover all my bases. But I didn't stop there. I also reached out to the soap manufacturer, the very people who made the commercial. And to my surprise, I received letters of encouragement from Hillary Clinton,
from Linda Ellerby, and from Gloria Allred. It was amazing.
And what was so interesting was to then see with this support behind me.
Procter Gamble changed this commercial. They changed it from women all over America are fighting greasy pots and pans
to people all over America. Now, I could paint this as a moment of triumph. And don't get me wrong, it was.
Oh shit, I nearly got you wrong there. There was a bit of humility. There was a little bit of a lack of pride for something that you kind of achieved probably wasn't really anything to do with you. Publicity stunt thing that happened when you were 11.
It was at that moment that I realized the magnitude of my actions.
Reaching back to more glorious times.
At the age of 11, I had created my small level of impact.
So she also told a whopper of a lie here that she had a standing ovation from the crowds. Well, as recent video footage came to light, that was another lie.
And after consulting P&G and advertising historians, they could not prove the whole story.
She just happened to have a PR team that would kind of go out there for her. And they managed to get her in front of the UN in various places, but most people are sitting in the audience going, who is this woman? Why is she here?
You know, it's so inspiring to think that all you've got to do is write to the First Lady of the United States and to massive corporations, and they'll just come to your school and they'll do like a photo opportunity.
I told her to write letters. I said, you write letters, no answer.
Thomas Markle, he set it all up and used his connections in Hollywood because he's a lighting director.
They sent a camera crew to my home to cover the story.
This whole campaign was a countrywide campaign. A lot of schools participated in.
Maybe we should keep writing letters and maybe they'll get the idea and they'll shape up the commercials a little bit.
He basically gave Meghan a false belief that she alone changed that commercial.
I changed that commercial from my little handwritten letter.
So, you know, the fact that I fell in love with Meghan so incredibly quickly was a sort of confirmation to me that everything, all the stars were aligned, everything was just perfect. It was this beautiful woman just sort of literally tripped and fell into my life. I fell into her life.
Right before she met Harry, she had her profile, her Wikipedia profile, changed from a fashion model and a spokesmodel to a humanitarian. Literally got someone to update that just before she met Harry. January 2016. One of the biggest gigs that Gina managed to secure for Meghan to help her look like a humanitarian, and that was securing Meghan as a World Vision Global Ambassador.
Once the contract is signed, there are difficulties with the trip. Meghan's demands. The producer, whose name is Surminski, could no longer get to travel because Meghan has eaten into the producer's part of the budget. Meghan demanded so much of an increase, the producer can't go. And it is supposedly for a charitable cause, remember?
What is it like going on one of those trips? Because I feel like we see the photos.
Yeah. Well, my trip to Rwanda last year was very different because it was just, you know, it was primarily at Parliament. I did go to a refugee camp, though.
So Meghan requested to be flown first class, and she wanted to make sure that she brought her own well-known fashion photographer on the charity's dime, and her own hair and makeup artist, also on the charity's dime.
You know, the biggest takeaway for me, especially in my industry, is the contrast of the things that, you know, it just puts a different level of perspective on the things we take for granted and the things that we complain about, right? We're all going to have our days, and it's all relative.
And it ended up being this, like, insane fashion shoot. She took lots of photos, lots of videos with the village children, but she had to make sure she changed outfits in between meeting different kids so that she had a variety of content.
Not for the charity or the cause, but for Meghan.
After filming with the children playing with the water tap, Meghan disappeared with the photographer to take photographs with some of the youngsters, leaving the producer, Brenda, puzzled and saying that celebrities using a desolate African village as the backdrop for a fashion shoot was mind-blowing.
But I'm not just going to tack my name onto it and not really know something purpose-driven is happening for me.
Meghan was using the children and the country as a backdrop to make herself look like a humanitarian. Look at the way it's all coming together now. So when Harry starts Googling Meghan, he can see that she's a humanitarian, an activist. Then she's got all these wonderful photographs. But it was what she put on the TIG after visiting Rwanda. Her life shifts from refugee camps to red carpets. She chooses them both because the worlds can coexist.
Don't give it 5 minutes if you're not going to give it 5 years.
So she did 2 World Vision trips. That was it. And then as soon as Harry basically said that he was interested, she ditched World Vision.